First contact. The human male subject, the alien ship, floated silently above Earth's orbit. Hidden from human eyes, it looked like a black shadow in space. Still, cold, and massive. Inside the ship, everything was quiet except for the sound of machines humming. Bright white lights lit up the smooth silver walls. Aliens moved around in silence, working, watching, recording. But one alien girl, Solara, was different. Solara was young, curious, and always asking questions. While others followed rules, she followed her mind. She belonged to a cold, logical alien race called the Varelians. They believed emotion was weakness. Love, anger, excitement, all were useless to them. But Solara was not like the others. For months, she had been secretly studying a strange species from a small blue planet. Humans, her eyes were glued to the screen. She zoomed in on a group of humans walking through a park, a tone. But one caught her attention, a human male, around 25 years old. He was laughing with friends, eating a hot dog full of energy. Solara tilted her head. Okay. Fascinating. She whispered, no other species showed such emotion. No other male from any known world had this kind of biological reaction to joy, excitement, or even danger. Human males were different. She had already collected data from space. Heart rates, brain scans, chemical reactions. But now, she wanted more. She needed one. That night, while Earth slept, Solara sent a small drone ship. It moved through the clouds like a ghost and hovered above the human. A bright blue light flashed. The man vanished. He woke up inside the Varelian ship, lying on a smooth white table. What the where am I? He shouted, looking around. Solara stood behind a glass wall, watching him. This was her subject. She finally had a human male too. Study. Subject is awake. Strong vocal expression. Heart rate elevated. Interesting. ... She said softly into her recorder. She walked into the room slowly. She had changed her form slightly, made herself look less alien and more human. Skin was pale blue, eyes glowing violet, and her hair looked like white silk. But she had a gentle voice. Please, do not panic, she said. The man stepped back. Who are you? My name is Solara. I am biologist. A what? A life science explorer. I study different life forms across galaxies. And you? Human male are very unusual. The man blinked. You kidnapped me? Solara tilted her head. Not kidnapped. Borrowed. She offered him water. He didn't take it. Then she said something strange. Wait, human males produce that? She stared at the data screen beside her. Her hands moved quickly over the glowing controls. The man looked confused. Produce what? Solara looked up. Shocked, your body releases certain chemicals during fear, stress, happiness even, affection, and your reproductive process. It's unlike anything I've seen. The man raised an eyebrow. You're talking about biology? She replied. But more than that, you feel things. You fight to protect. You laugh when you're happy. You even cry. No other species does all this, especially not the males. The man crossed his arms. You don't feel emotions. Solara shook her head. Not the way you do. We removed emotion from our evolution, but watching you makes me wonder. Did we make a mistake? Suddenly, a loud alarm rang through the lab. Alert, unauthorized experiment detected. Council notified. Solara's eyes widened. No, not yet, she whispered. She quickly turned off the screen. What's going on? The man asked. They found out, Solara said. I wasn't supposed to bring you here. My people, they don't believe you're important. They think humans are too simple. But I think you might be special. The human stared at her. Why me? Solara looked at him carefully. Because you feel, because you fight, because you care. That makes you dangerous and powerful. Footsteps echoed outside the lab. Zilara turned to the man. My name is Zilara. What's yours? He hesitated. Jason, she nodded. Jason, I'm going to protect you. The door began to open. Zilara pressed a button and the room filled with blue light. Jason passed out instantly. Zilara turned to face the incoming guards, calm and quiet, but in her heart, a heart that was not supposed to feel. She felt something new, fear, not for herself, but for Jason. The experiment begins. Jason slowly opened his eyes. The lights above him were soft and white, unlike the harsh brightness from before. His body felt heavy. His head was spinning. He blinked, trying to remember where he was. Then it hit him. The alien ship. The strange girl. Zilara, he sat up quickly and looked around. He was no longer in the cold white lab. This room felt different. Warmer. The walls glowed a soft blue, and a plant-like structure grew in the corner, glowing slowly like a heartbeat. A voice came through a speaker. Do not be afraid. Jason, you are safe. For now. It was XE Lara. Jason stood up. Where am I? This is my private chamber, she replied. I moved you here. The council thinks I erased you, but I lied. Jason frowned. So you're hiding me now? Yes, she said calmly. Because you are more valuable than they know. Before Jason could reply, a part of the wall opened like a door. Zilara stepped inside. Her blue skin shimmered faintly. She looked more tired than before. You're not just a subject anymore, she said. Now, you're a secret. Sighed. Well, that's comforting. Zilara gave a small smile, the first Jason had seen. It was faint, unsure, but real. I need to understand more about you, she said, picking up a glowing tablet. Your reactions, your emotions, your body chemistry, all of it. Jason crossed his arms. I'm not a lab rat. I know. She said softly. That's why I moved you here. No restraints. No pain, just questions. Observations. Jason paused. Fine. Ask your questions. Zilara's eyes lit up with curiosity. Why do you laugh? Jason blinked. That's your first question? Yes. You laugh when nothing is funny, even when you're scared. I don't understand. Jason shrugged. Sometimes we laugh to release stress, or just because something feels weird or unexpected. Zilara typed quickly on her tablet. Laughter as a survival mechanism. Fascinating. She moved closer. And what is this? Love. Why do you choose one person out of billions? Jason smiled slightly. Love isn't always a choice. Sometimes it just happens. Zilara tilted her head. Illogical. But very human, he replied. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Zilara's smile vanished. They're scanning this section of the ship, she said quickly. I need to hide your signal. She rushed to the wall and pressed a glowing panel. Jason watched as a dome-shaped energy field formed around him. Stay inside this, she said. It bends your biological signal. Jason nodded. What happens if they find me? Zilara looked down. They'll destroy you. Silence. Jason sat down inside the energy dome. Why are you risking this for me? Zilara didn't answer immediately. She looked at him carefully, as if searching for the truth in his eyes. Because, she said slowly, when I studied your brain scans, I saw something impossible. Jason leaned forward. What? She showed him the screen. This is your brain under stress, she said. And this is your brain when you talk about your family. See the difference? Jason looked. The second image glowed brighter, more alive. Your emotions increase your brain power. It makes you faster, stronger, more aware. Voice grew quiet. My species removed emotions thousands of years ago. We thought it made us smarter, but maybe we lost something. Jason stared at her. You think humans are better? I think. You are more complete, she said. Then, she stepped back. I want to show you something. She led him through a hidden passage. The hallway was narrow and dim, full of strange symbols on the walls. At the end was a window. Jason gasped. It looked out into space. And below them was Earth, shining like a blue gem. It's beautiful, he whispered. Zilara nodded. It's alive, chaotic, loud, but beautiful. Then she turned to him. Jason, have you ever been in war? Jason looked down. I was a soldier, for a short time. I've seen things I wish I could forget. Zalara's voice became softer. Did you fight for your people? He nodded. For my family. For those who couldn't fight. Zilara stepped. Closer than I understand now. Emotion is not weakness. It's the reason you survive. Jason smiled. Took you long enough, but the moment ended quickly. A red light began flashing in the hallway. Zalara's expression changed. They've entered this sector. Jason looked at her. What do we do? Zalara opened a small panel in the wall. Follow me. There's a hidden lab where I can mask us. They ran together through the corridor, the red light chasing them, like a shadow. As they reached the lab, Zalara stopped suddenly. Wait, she said. Jason looked confused. What? She stared at the scanner in her hand. Your biology just changed again. Your adrenaline levels. They spiked when I said we were in danger. Jason raised an eyebrow. Of course they did. Zalara smiled again, a little wider. This time, you're incredible. Jason laughed. Don't get too excited, alien girl. Zalara looked at him. Too late. Forbidden knowledge, the hidden lab was quiet. Only the soft humming of machines broke the silence. Jason sat on the edge of a silver table, watching Zalara work. Her long fingers moved fast over glowing screens, typing strange symbols. She looked focused, but there was a tension in the air like something was coming. What are you doing now? Jason asked. Zalara didn't look up. Hiding your life signature. Again, their scans are getting stronger. Jason crossed his arms. How long can you keep doing this? Zalara paused. Not forever, but long enough. She turned to face him. You are more than a subject now, Jason. You are. Proof. Jason raised an eyebrow. Proof of what? She stepped closer. Proof that emotion is not weakness. That it creates strength. That humanity might be more advanced than us in ways we never imagined. Jason chuckled. Wow. First, I'm a prisoner. Then a science project. Now I'm your revolution. Zalara smiled faintly. Maybe. She reached into a drawer and pulled out a silver cube. It pulsed with light. This holds every biological record I've taken from you. Brainwaves, hormone shifts, muscle response, emotional patterns. Jason looked uneasy. That's a little personal. It is, Zalara agreed, but it's also something my people would fear. Jason leaned forward. Why? Because we've controlled ourselves for centuries, she said. We deleted emotion from our DNA. We wanted logic, peace, order, and we got it. But something is missing. She placed the cube on the table. You have something we lost. Jason picked up the cube and stared at it. You sure it's not just chaos? Zalara smiled. Chaos, with purpose. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the lab. Zalara 97, report to Central Command. Now, her face went pale. It's the Council, she whispered. They're suspicious. Jason stood up. Can they trace me? Zalara shook her head. Not yet, but if I refuse to go, they'll know. Jason grabbed her wrist gently. Then go. Don't draw attention. Zalara looked at him for a long moment. Then she nodded. Hide in the shielded chamber. Don't speak. Don't move. I'll return soon. Jason watched her leave, her steps fast but silent. The door closed behind her with a soft hiss. Now alone, Jason sat inside the small energy chamber, the place that bent his life signal. The room was dark, but not cold. Still, he felt something strange, something growing inside him. Trust, he was starting to trust her. Meanwhile, Zalara stood before the High Council, 7 tall Varelians with glowing eyes and smooth silver robes. Their faces were blank, their voices emotionless. Zilaron, 97, said the leader. You've been conducting unauthorized studies. You've accessed restricted species data. Explain. Zalara kept her voice calm. I believed the human species required deeper analysis. They are not advanced. They are violent, unpredictable, chaotic. That may be true, she said. But they are also creative, adaptive, emotionally reactive in ways we've never seen. The council stared at her. Your findings suggest biological instability. Why defend such a race? Zalara took a deep breath. Because I believe emotion creates strength, not weakness. A pause. The council whispered among themselves, using thought signals. You are showing signs of contamination, said the leader. Zalara's heart beat faster. I request permission for a final field study, she said. I need one more cycle to confirm my data. Silence again. Then, 1 cycle. No more. If you fail, your research will be erased. And so will the subject. Zalara bowed her head. Understood. Back in the hidden lab. Jason sat in silence, trying not to move. But curiosity grew stronger. He noticed a glowing panel near the wall. It had small alien symbols and a blinking red light. He reached out slowly and touched it. Suddenly, a small screen lit up, showing Zalara's research files. Images of himself appeared. Brain scans, heartbeat charts, voice recordings, even memories from his past. Jason's eyes widened. He saw a file labeled Emotional Spike Human Male. He clicked it. It was a video, a recording of him from earlier, when he spoke about his family. His voice cracked with emotion. His eyes shimmered. Zalara's voice whispered in the background, fear and love at the same time. Incredible. They feel both together. We've lost this. Jason leaned back, stunned. She wasn't mocking him. She admired him. For the first time, he realized this wasn't just science for her. She truly wanted to understand. The door opened. Jason quickly shut off the panel. Zalara stepped inside, looking tired. Her eyes met his. They gave me 1 more cycle, she said. Jason smiled slightly. You okay? She nodded. Barely, he stepped forward. Listen, I saw some of your files. I didn't mean to snoop. But I saw what you said. Zalara blinked. You did? He nodded. You said we feel both fear and love. You're right. We do. She stepped closer. You carry pain inside, Jason, but also hope. Oh, that's rare. Jason looked into her glowing eyes. You want the truth, Zalara? We're a mess. We argue, we make mistakes, but we care. That's why we survive. Zalara stared at him for a long time. Then she said something she had never said before. I don't want you to leave. Jason paused. Then don't let them take me. She looked down at the cube on the table. If I send this to the council, they'll want more. They'll invade Earth. Jason stepped forward. Then we don't send it. But then they'll erase us both. He smiled. Guess we better come up with a plan B. Zalara stared at him, and for the first time in her life, she felt something real. The escape plan, the lights inside the ship dimmed. A soft red glow washed over the walls like a silent warning. Jason could feel it. Something was wrong. Zalara stood near the lab's control panel, eyes locked on the screen. Her fingers moved quickly, typing in codes. The screen showed a fleet of ships, Varelian patrol vessels, moving closer to Earth's orbit. Jason stepped closer. "What's happening?" "They're preparing for intervention," she said without turning. "They didn't like my report. They want to erase all human traces before your kind can become a threat." Jason clenched his jaw. "So they're planning to destroy Earth?" "Not yet," Zalara said. "But it's coming. First, they'll send drones. Scan your planet. Pick targets. Study defenses." Then she stopped typing. "They'll decide." Jason looked at her, heart pounding. "We can't let that happen." She finally turned to him. "I know." For a long moment, they just stood there, an alien girl raised without emotion, and a human man full of it. Jason broke the silence. "We have to run." "You said there's a hidden dock on this ship?" Zalara nodded slowly. "A private escape pod, made for one. I use it for deep space sampling. Can you reprogram it for two?" She blinked. "Yes." "Ah, but it won't be easy. The ship tracks all escape activity." "Then we move fast," Jason said. "We escape. Warn Earth and stop them." Zalara stared at him. "Are you sure? If they catch us, they won't just erase me. They'll dissect you." Jason gave a small, brave smile. "You said I'm special, remember?" Her eyes softened. "You are." 10 hours later, the hidden dock was silent. It was deep in the underbelly of the ship, far from the Council scanners. Jason followed Zalara through narrow metal halls, ducking under pipes and glowing wires. She carried a small case filled with supplies, nutrient pods, a translator chip, and the silver cube holding all her research. The escape pod waited in a dim chamber. It was small, sleek, with curved glass windows and soft blue light inside. It looked like a metal egg ready to fly. Jason walked around it slowly. "This thing's really going to get us to Earth." Zalara checked the panel. "Barely, it wasn't built for atmosphere entry. But I can modify the descent shields." Jason smiled. "Remind me never to doubt you." She turned to face him. "We only get one shot. Once we launch, there's no coming back." Jason looked at her seriously. "I already left everything behind. I'm in." Zalara looked down at the cube in her hand. "Should I bring it?" Jason hesitated. "If they find that on us, we're dead. But if I leave it, everything I've learned, everything I felt, it's gone." Jason nodded slowly. "Then hide it in the pod. Deep. If we make it to Earth, we'll share it with someone who can understand." She placed the cube in a small secret panel beneath the pilot's seat. Suddenly, alarms echoed through the dock. "Unauthorized access detected. All personnel report to Sector 9. Zalara's eyes widened. They found us. Jason ran to the pod and opened the hatch. "Get in, now." "No," she said. "I need 40 more seconds to finish override commands. If I launch now, the pod will crash." Jason stood at the door, heart racing. "Then hurry." Zalara's hands flew across the panel. Sparks flew as she rewired the control chip. Her voice was calm but fast. "Cutting launch signal. Breaking trace lock. Rerouting destination." Jason watched the door behind her. He heard the sound of boots metal against metal, closer, louder. "Zalara," he shouted. "They're coming. 10 seconds." She yelled back. Jason grabbed a pipe from the wall and stood ready. He wasn't a soldier anymore. But he wasn't helpless either. Then the door burst open. A tall Varelian guard stepped inside, followed by 2 others. Their faces were blank. No anger, no fear. just cold purpose. Jason raised the pipe. Off. The guards raised their arms, long silver rods glowing at the tips. Energy weapons? Jason braced himself. But before anyone could fire, a wave of bright light filled the room. Boom. Smoke exploded from the wall as the escape pod powered up. Solara shouted, "Jason, inside now." Jason ran, dove into the pod, and Solara jumped in behind him. The door slammed shut. The pod launched with a roar, blasting through the docking bay like a bullet from a cannon dot. Inside, Jason was thrown against the seat. Solara grabbed the controls, struggling to keep the pod steady. Outside the window, stars turned into streaks. The pod raced away from the mothership, alarms fading behind them. Jason looked at her. "Did we make it?" Solara didn't answer. Her hands were shaking, her face pale, but her eyes were full of something new. Emotion, double quotes, I think. She said softly, "We just started a war." Jason gave a tired smile. "Then let's make it count." They stared ahead, toward Earth, toward danger, toward whatever came next. But they weren't afraid. They had each other. The cost of curiosity, the escape pod tumbled through space, shaking like a storm-tossed boat. Jason held tightly to the seat as warning lights flashed red all around him. "Solara," he shouted. "What's happening?" Zilara's hands moved quickly over the controls. Her eyes scanned dozens of signals. She was calm, but her voice was tight. "The shields are failing. This pod wasn't designed for long flight with two bodies. The oxygen balance is off." Jason coughed. He felt dizzy. The air was thin. His vision blurred around the edges. Solara noticed. She reached for a scanner and aimed it at him. A glowing light moved across his chest. "Your system is breaking down," she whispered. "You're not used to Varelian air composition. Your lungs are rejecting it." Jason tried to stand. Alex gave out. "I'm fine," he lied. "You're not," Solara said, her voice shaking for the first time. She grabbed a breathing mask and adjusted the settings, trying to copy Earth's air chemistry. She placed it gently on his face. Jason gasped as the cleaner air entered his lungs. His eyes closed. Solara knelt beside him, staring at his face. This wasn't part of the plan. He wasn't supposed to suffer. She had studied hundreds of life forms. She had watched creatures live and die through screens. But this was different. This was personal, and it hurt. She looked down at her hand. It was shaking. Her heart was racing. She was feeling too much. 2 hours later, Jason lay still in the pod's med corner. The breathing mask kept him alive, but just barely. His skin was pale, his heart beat slow. Solara sat next to him, watching him sleep. "This is my fault," she whispered. "I took you from your world. I exposed you to this." She reached for a small silver vial from her pack. Inside was a glowing blue liquid, pure Varelian life energy. It was used only in emergencies and never on other species. She stared at it. "If I give this to him, I don't know what it will do." The ship rocked again. A message blinked. On the screen, Varelian patrols in pursuit. 23 minutes behind. They were being followed. She looked at Jason again. His breathing was getting weaker. She opened the vial. A drop of the liquid hovered in the air, glowing like a tiny star. She placed it against his neck, where skin met pulse. It sank in. At first, nothing happened. Then Jason's body jerked once. His back arched. His eyes flew open. He gasped. The mask fell off as he sucked in a full breath. His lungs stronger, his skin warmer. Solara stared in shock. "You reacted to Varelian essence," she whispered. Jason blinked at her. "What did you do?" "I gave you a part of my own energy," she said softly. I don't know if it will last, or what it will do to you. Jason sat up slowly. He felt different, stronger, sharper, but not fully himself. He looked at her. Why would you risk? That Solara looked away. Because curiosity brought you here, and love won't let me lose you. Jason froze. What did you say? She closed her eyes. Love, I finally understand it. It's not logical. It's not planned. It just happens. And it changes everything. Jason reached for her hand. You said your kind removed emotion, are you? Okay. She gave a weak smile. I don't think I am. I don't care. Back on the Varelian ship inside the Grand Hall of the Council, the leaders stood around a glowing map. Earth blinked in red dot. One of the elders spoke. Zilara has escaped. The human is with her. Their pod is weak. They cannot survive. Another added, then let space deal with them. But one voice disagreed. A tall Varelian in black robes. No. The human is dangerous. The girl is infected. Emotion spreads like a virus. We must act now. They activated the fleet. Meanwhile, in the pod Jason and Zilara sat together. Watching Earth grow larger in the window, blue oceans, green land, white clouds, Jason placed a hand on the glass. Home. Zilara nodded slowly. I want to see it. I want to understand everything. Your cities, your people, your noise. Jason laughed softly. You might hate it. We're messy, but alive, she whispered. So alive. Suddenly, the alarm buzzed. Enemy ships detected. Intercept in 3 minutes. Jason turned to her. We're not going to make it, are we? Zilara stood up. Her face was calm, but her eyes were full of something new. We might. She pulled out the cube, the one holding all her research. If we can't reach Earth, she said, this must. Jason understood. You're going to eject it? She nodded. If they destroy the pod, at least the truth will survive. Jason stared at her. And what about us? She stepped close. We survive too, or we burn together. The pod dove. Toward Earth, 3 alien ships appeared behind them, firing pulses of red light. Jason gripped the controls. Zilara pressed the eject panel. The cube shot out like a comet, heading for Earth's surface. The ship shook violently. Jason shouted, Hold. Zilara grabbed his hand, and for the first time, an emotionless alien girl prayed for a miracle. Rise of the human factor, the cube hit Earth like a silent shooting star. It fell into the Pacific Ocean, unseen by most. But deep underwater, it activated. A signal burst out encrypted data, coordinates. Warnings across secret satellites and defense networks, the message spread. And for the first time in human history, the world knew it wasn't alone. 3 days later, Earth orbit Jason stood near the edge of the open pod hatch. His eyes scanned the planet below. Earth looked peaceful. Aka. He knew better. He turned to Zilara, who was repairing a control panel. Do you think they got the message? He asked. She nodded. Yes. The cube sent a pulse with my research and a direct warning. Someone received it. Jason smiled faintly. Let's hope it wasn't just a fisherman with a tin boat. Zilara raised an eyebrow. What is? Tin. Boat. Jason laughed. Forget it. Her smile faded. They'll come soon, my people. The Varelians won't allow humans to stay free. Not after seeing your potential. Jason crossed his arms. Then they'll see our reality too. We're not just potential. We're dangerous when united. Zilara looked down at Earth. Are you sure your world is ready? Jason nodded slowly. It has to be. Meanwhile, Ground Command, Earth's General. Harper stood at the giant screen in the Global Defense Room. Dozens of scientists, engineers, and leaders from every major nation surrounded him. On the screen was the message from the alien. Cube, translated by top linguists, and A is human. Males show unpredictable biological power. Emotion increases strength. They must be studied or eliminated before emotional contagion spreads. Target, Earth. The room was silent. One man whispered, "So, emotions make us dangerous." A woman replied, "No, emotions make us human." Harper turned, "We prepare for war. Not just with weapons, with knowledge. They fear us because we feel." He pointed at the screen. "Let's give them something to fear." In orbit, Jason and Zalara's pod warning lights blinked red again. Zalara's face grew serious. "They're here," she whispered. Jason looked. Out the window, 3 massive ships entered orbit, shaped like spinning daggers. Varelian ships. "They found us," he said. The ships hovered, waiting, silent, watching. A deep voice echoed in the pod. "Ziller 97, you are ordered to surrender. The subject will be erased. You have broken Varelian law." Zilara stood tall. "I have broken silence, not law." Jason stepped beside her. "Tell them we're not surrendering." She tapped the panel. Her voice was clear. "If you destroy us, Earth will rise. And for the first time, you'll see what emotions can truly do." There was no reply. Then weapons began to glow. Jason's jaw tightened. "They're charging up." Zilara turned to him. "We have one option." Earth launched a retrieval shuttle. "It's nearby. We can try to dock and escape before they fire." Jason nodded. "What are we waiting for?" Near Earth orbit, the escape the pod detached, moving fast toward the Earth shuttle behind them. The Varelian ships prepared to strike. Inside the pod, alarms screamed. The hull creaked. Jason gripped the manual controls, hands steady. "I've never flown a spaceship before." Zilara adjusted the targeting system, then learned fast. A laser blast shot past them, missing by inches. Jason cursed. "They're not joking." Zilara placed her hand over his. "Trust me." Together, they guided the pod through the crossfire. The Earth shuttle came into view, white, bulky, marked with UN logos. "Shuttle 1, this is Jason Reed. We are incoming with non-hostile alien on board. Permission to dock." The voice replied, "Roger that. You're cleared. Hurry." As the pod approached the bay, a final shot hit their tail. Smoke filled the chamber. Jason and Zilara flew sideways, hit the wall, sparks flying everywhere. Then, the docking clamp locked. They made it. Inside the Earth, shuttle doctors rushed in, pulling Jason and Zilara from the burning pod. Scientists stared at Zilara like she was a ghost. Jason tried to stand but stumbled. General Harper entered the chamber. He looked straight at Jason. "You're the one from the message." Jason nodded. "That's Zilara. She risked everything to save Earth." Harper turned to her. "Why?" Zilara looked him in the eyes. "Because you have something we lost, and something worth protecting." Harper said nothing, then gave a slight nod. "Then let's protect it together." He turned to his team. "Full planetary alert. Defensive grid online. And get this man and his friend everything they need." Jason looked at Zilara. "Friend." She tilted her head. "Was that sarcasm?" He laughed. "Yes, you're learning." Final scene, orbit above them. The Varelian fleet hovered, uncertain now. They had expected fear, but what they saw was resistance. For the first time, they saw what human emotions could build: courage, connection, hope, and they began to wonder. Had they underestimated the human factor? She said. They produced that. The Revelation Earth stood still. From cities to deserts, mountains to oceans, people stared at the skies. News broadcasts ran non-stop. Social media was flooded. Children pointed at the glowing ships above the clouds. Humanity had always wondered if it was alone now. They knew the answer. They were not. And someone out there was afraid of them inside the United. Earth Command Center Jason sat in a secure room with glass walls and monitors everywhere. His face was calm, but his heart raced. Across from him sat scientists, military leaders, and world representatives. Zilara stood at his side, wearing a simple gray robe. Her glowing violet eyes scanned the humans not with fear, but with interest. A woman from the science team leaned forward. "So these aliens want to destroy us because of emotion," Zilara nodded. "They fear its power. To them, emotion is chaos. But to you," she glanced at Jason, "it's strength." The room was quiet. Then an older general asked, "What do they fear most?" Zilara took a breath, and then she said it. "They fear what human males produce." A silence fell across the room. Jason blinked. "Wait, what?" Zilara looked at him seriously. "Your biology, your chemistry, your drive to protect, to love, to sacrifice, it creates waves, real physical energy. When under pressure, your body produces unique combinations of hormones, brain activity, and something else." The scientists leaned in. "What something else?" one asked. Zilara raised her hand and pressed a button on a small cube. A 3D projection appeared. Jason's brain scan, glowing bright during moments of stress, love, and rage. "This," she said, "is not just emotion. It's creation." The scientists gasped. "This energy is new," Zilara continued. "It does not exist in Varelians. It is not mechanical. It is not synthetic. It is life force." The older general frowned. "Are you saying we create soul energy?" Zilara nodded slowly. "Yes, that is the word closest to its meaning." Jason looked stunned. "You're telling me I have a soul, and they don't?" "Yes," she said. "And that's why they're afraid." Varelian Council, High Orbit of Varelian Council watched the human broadcasts. The emotional speeches, the protests, the unity. But what shocked them most were the songs. From Earth, music had been beamed into orbit. A mixture of classical, tribal, rock, and lullabies, all filled with feeling, history, longing. "Why are they sending this?" One elder asked. "They are not threatening us," said another. "They are sharing." Silence. Then the lead elder whispered, "They're not a threat to destroy us. They're a threat to change us." Back on Earth, a choice Jason and Zilara walked through a quiet garden outside the Earth Command building. Soldiers guarded every path, but gave them space. "You never told me," Jason said softly. "Why did you care enough to stop your people?" Zilara looked at the sky. "Because when I first saw you, a random man in a park, eating and laughing, I felt something I had never felt before." "Curiosity?" he guessed. "No," she said. "Jealousy." Jason raised an eyebrow. "Jealous of me? You?" "We're alive," she said. "Fully alive. You felt joy without guilt. You were present in the moment. We Varelians. We erased that part of ourselves." She looked at him. "And now, I want it back." Jason smiled gently. "So what happens now?" She reached into her robe and held out the cube, her life's work. "You choose," she said. "I will give this to Earth or destroy it forever. If your people share this with the galaxy, others will come. Curiosity will grow. It will also put a target on you." Jason took the cube and stared at it. Then he said, "Let's share it." Zilara's eyes widened. "You're sure?" He nodded. "If we hide, we stay small. But if we share, we grow." She smiled. A real, full smile this time. That is the most human answer possible. 1 week later, a new signal the cube's data was uploaded. A peaceful signal was sent into space. Not as a threat, not as a warning, but as an invitation. To any life that hears this, we are human. We feel. We fight. We hope. We don't have perfect logic, but we have heart. If you wish to understand us, come in peace, and maybe feel something too. Final scene, a new beginning. Jason and Zalara stood on a cliff above the sea. Children played below. Drones flew overhead. News of peace spread fast. She looked at him. I still can't believe one human male changed everything. Jason chuckled. What can I say? We produced that. She laughed a soft musical sound and touched his hand, and somewhere far above them, in the cold silence of space, a dozen small ships turned around, not to attack, but to listen.